If you're going to Tokyo for the first time, this is the kind of video I really wish I had watched before my own trip. Because Tokyo is not the kind of city that scares you right away. It doesn't hit you with one huge problem the moment you land. Actually, at first, it feels clean, smooth, exciting, and surprisingly easy. And that's exactly why so many first-time visitors make the same mistakes. Not big, dramatic mistakes. Small ones, the kind that don't sound serious before the trip, but somehow end up draining your energy, wasting your time, and quietly ruining the mood of your day. The wrong station exit, the wrong hotel area, the wrong time to move around the city. The suitcase that felt perfectly fine at the airport, but becomes a nightmare 2 days later. The restaurant system you didn't understand. The last train you forgot about until it was already too late. So in this video, I want to walk you through the biggest mistakes first-time visitors make in Tokyo, and more importantly, how to avoid them. And I'm not going to say this like a guidebook. I'm going to say it the way one traveler would tell another traveler after learning these things the real way. So let's start from the beginning. The first mistake happens right after landing. A lot of people arrive in Tokyo and instantly go into full sightseeing mode. They land, grab their bags, and start thinking, okay, let's go. I don't want to waste a single minute. And honestly, I understand that feeling. Tokyo's exciting. You've probably been waiting for this trip for a long time. You want to make the most of every second, but one of the biggest mistakes you can make is doing too much on arrival day. Because after a flight, especially a long one, your brain is not as fresh as you think it is. Your body is tired. You're carrying things. You're trying to read signs, figure out transport, find your hotel, manage your phone, maybe deal with cash, maybe deal with train tickets, and suddenly you're asking yourself to do all of that while also enjoying Tokyo at the same time. That's too much. So the better move on your first day is simple. Don't rush to start the trip. Start it properly, get your internet sorted, get your transport card, have some cash ready, know exactly how you're getting to your hotel. And most importantly, let your first few hours in Tokyo feel organized, not chaotic. Because when your arrival feels calm, Tokyo starts feeling welcoming. But when your arrival feels rushed and messy, Tokyo can suddenly feel much more overwhelming than it actually is. And once you leave the airport, that brings me to the next mistake. A lot of people choose the cheapest way into the city without thinking about their real condition in that moment. And on paper, that makes sense. Of course, people want to save money. But travel is not only about money, it's also about energy. If you've just landed, you're tired, you have luggage, and you're entering one of the biggest cities in the world for the first time, the cheapest option is not always the smartest option. Sometimes the cheapest route means more transfers, more stairs, more walking, more confusion, more stress. And if all of that hits you in your very first hour, it can affect the whole tone of the trip more than you expect. So, before choosing the cheapest airport transfer, ask yourself one honest question. Is saving this small amount of money worth making my first hour in Tokyo much harder? Sometimes the better choice is simply the smoother choice. Now let's talk about hotels, because this is another mistake that catches a lot of people. A lot of first-time visitors book hotels the way they shop online. The photos look nice, the room looks clean, the price looks good, and it says near station. So they think, perfect. But in Tokyo, near station does not always mean easy. Some stations are small and simple. Some are massive, crowded, confusing, and full of exits that can make your day harder every single time you come back. And then there's the room itself. Tokyo hotel rooms can be much smaller than people expect. If you're traveling with a large suitcase, shopping bags, or another person, a room that looked totally fine online can feel incredibly tight in real life. So when you book a hotel in Tokyo, don't just ask, does it look pretty? Ask better questions. How far is the walk from the station really? Is the station easy to understand? Will I be happy dealing with this area every morning and every night? Are there convenience stores nearby? Can I actually open my luggage comfortably in the room? Because in Tokyo, the right hotel doesn't just look good. It protects your energy. And speaking of energy, now we need to talk about transportation. Most first-time visitors think the hardest part of Tokyo transport is choosing the correct train line. But honestly, that's not always the part that ruins your mood. The real problem is often the station exit. You can arrive at the correct station and still end up completely lost just because you came out of the wrong exit. And this is one of the most classic Tokyo mistakes. You think you're almost there, you think your destination is just 1 minute away, Then suddenly you come out onto a totally different street on the wrong side of a huge station, with people moving quickly all around you while you stand there trying to fix everything with your phone. So here's one of the most useful Tokyo habits you can build. Don't just check the station, check the exit too. Before you go anywhere, look up the correct exit for your destination. Screenshot it if you need to. Trust me, this tiny step can save you so much time and frustration. And while we're still talking about transport, let's move into the next mistake. Moving around Tokyo at the worst possible time. If you can avoid rush hour, avoid it. Seriously. Because Tokyo during commuter hours is fast, crowded, and intense. Not chaotic, not unsafe, just very intense. And if you are traveling as a visitor, that intensity feels very different. Maybe you're checking directions, maybe you're dragging luggage, maybe you're in a group, maybe you simply want to walk more slowly and actually enjoy what's around you. That's when Tokyo's commuter rhythm can suddenly feel exhausting. Locals already know how to move through it. They know where to stand, where to walk, how to transfer, how to flow with the crowd. As a first-time visitor, you usually don't know that rhythm yet. So if you have flexibility, don't force yourself into Tokyo at its hardest moment. Move a little later in the morning. Travel during the calmer part of the day, use late morning, midday, and early afternoon for your bigger movements. Tokyo becomes much softer when you stop fighting its busiest hours. Now, once you start moving around more, another problem appears very quickly: luggage. And honestly, I think people underestimate this one all the time. A large suitcase feels manageable at home. It still feels manageable at the airport. But in Tokyo, it becomes a completely different experience. Now you're dragging it through train stations, lifting it upstairs, trying not to hit people with it, trying to fit it into a small room, trying to turn around with it in narrow hallways, trying to keep up while everyone around you seems to move so easily. That's when you realize extra luggage is not harmless in Tokyo. So if this is your first trip, pack lighter than you think you need to. Not slightly lighter, actually lighter. Because in Tokyo, every extra kilo becomes real, and the less you carry, the more freedom you feel. And the more freedom you feel, the more you enjoy the city. Now let's talk about daily planning, because this is where people accidentally make Tokyo much harder than it needs to be. A lot of first-time visitors plan their days like this: morning in Asakusa, lunch in Shibuya, afternoon in Shinjuku, sunset somewhere else, dinner across town, and maybe one more stop after that. And yes, technically you can do that, but should you? Usually no. Tokyo is huge, and crossing the city over and over again in one day is one of the fastest ways to drain yourself without even noticing it. A much better way to enjoy Tokyo is to group your days by area and by mood. In the morning, start with calmer neighborhoods. Do the heavier walking while your body still feels fresh. When your legs start getting tired, switch to shopping areas, cafes, or indoor spots where you can slow down a little, and save high-energy neighborhoods like Shibuya and Shinjuku for later in the day, when they feel more alive anyway. Tokyo is not a city you need to conquer. It's a city you enjoy more when you let each area breathe. Now let's move on to food, because this is where a lot of first-time visitors start feeling awkward. Food in Tokyo is amazing. That part is easy. The awkward part is assuming every restaurant works the same way as the places you're used to. Sometimes you need to wait to be seated. Sometimes you need to stand in a very specific line. Sometimes there's a ticket machine. Sometimes there's a call button on the table. Sometimes the system only makes sense if you stop and watch for 10 seconds before doing anything. And that's really the key. In Tokyo, one of the best travel skills you can have is simply observing before acting. Pause for a moment. Watch what the locals are doing, see how people line up, see how they order, see how they pay. You do not need perfect Japanese to eat well in Tokyo. You just need a little patience and a little awareness. And then there's something else that surprises a lot of first-time visitors. Sitting down in an izakaya and having a small dish appear even though they didn't order it. A lot of people get confused by that. Some even think something is wrong when they see the bill later. But Tokyo has a lot of little systems and local habits like this. So instead of panicking too quickly, try staying curious first. Very often, the thing that feels strange is simply normal in that setting. And while we're talking about food, here's another tiny mistake people make all the time. They buy a snack, start eating while walking, and then suddenly realize they're holding trash and have no idea where to throw it away. Tokyo is incredibly clean, but that does not mean there are trash cans everywhere. So if you buy something to eat, the smoother move is simple. step aside, eat calmly, finish properly, and be ready to keep your trash with you until you find the right place. These little habits make your day feel much easier. Now, after a full day of walking, eating, exploring, and moving around, the city starts to shift. Tokyo at night is beautiful. It's exciting, bright, alive, and honestly, sometimes even more cinematic than it is during the day. And that's exactly why people make another huge mistake. They forget the last train, they get too comfortable. One more stop, one more neighborhood, one more drink, one more photo, one more hour, and then suddenly it hits them, the last train. And if you miss it, that fun night can turn into a very expensive and very annoying experience. So if you're planning to stay out late, always check the last train before the night really starts. Not after you're already relaxed. Not when you're tired. Not when you're standing outside trying to figure it out. Before. That one small decision can save your whole night. And while we're talking about nighttime, there's one more thing I want to mention. Tokyo is exciting at night, but don't let excitement switch off your common sense. One mistake first-time visitors sometimes make is following random invitations on the street just because the city feels new and interesting. Someone tries too hard to pull you into a bar, a club, a special place, a deal that sounds a little too easy. And honestly, that's usually not the energy you want to follow. Nightlife is much better when you choose where you're going on purpose. Pick the neighborhood you want, pick the kind of place you want, know the vibe you're looking for, and stick to places that feel clear, open, and straightforward. Traveling smart does not make Tokyo less fun. It makes it better. So if I had to sum up Tokyo in one sentence, I would say this. Tokyo is not hard. Tokyo just has a rhythm. And the more you stop forcing your own pace onto the city, the more the city starts opening up to you. Don't rush on arrival day. Don't always choose the cheapest option if it costs too much energy. Don't book a hotel just because it looks good online. Don't underestimate station exits. Don't move through the city at the worst possible times if you can avoid it. Don't carry more than you can comfortably manage. Don't cram too many areas into one day. Don't walk into restaurants without paying attention. Don't forget the last train. And don't let nighttime excitement make your decisions for you. Tokyo becomes so much more enjoyable when you move a little softer, a little smarter, and a little more observantly. And once that happens, the city changes. It stops feeling intimidating. It starts feeling exciting, addictive, beautiful, and honestly, very hard to leave.